Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. Welcome to the Pipedrive's product meetup. My name is Sarah, and I'm your host tonight. Together with me are these three random people who I just accidentally met. They happen to be product leads at Pipedrive, and we're going to be spending next 1 hour and 15 minutes with them discussing the topic of mentoring and coaching product managers at Pipedrive. We will reveal some of the secrets that are behind our product team success. We will discuss the topic of leadership culture that we have here at Pipedrive, and also we will discuss the topic of career paths. So we want you guys over there, to participate in this discussion. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them to the chat, and we'll make sure we'll take them during the talk or at the end of the talk. By the way, if you're sitting there and be like, I don't really care for mentoring and coaching product managers, but I really want to work at Pipedrive and I have some questions, feel free to drop them there. We'll surely answer them as well. So I think I said all the mandatory. No, I didn't. I have some more things to say. Very important, we will be sharing prizes for 3 best questions. So we will be sharing Pipedrive hoodies, are pretty nice. So stay tuned till the end of the talk, and maybe you'll be the one who will win a hoodie. Okay, now I said all the mandatory things I had to say. Let's now introduce ourselves. I'll start for myself. As I said, my name is Sarah. And why I'm hosting this talk? Well, first of all, I'm pretty desperate for attention. But second reason is that I'm myself a group product manager. I really like everything related to product management. Especially recently, I've been very interested in coaching product managers. So when I got an opportunity to sit down here with my colleagues and discuss some of my favorite topics, then I took it in. That's pretty selfish, but here we go. Let's turn to our speakers now, Jaana, Almonzer, and Maria. Guys, please introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, like I wouldn't know that already, and what you do at Pipedrive.
Yeah, so do I start?
You can start, yes.
Okay, so I'm Jaana. I work as a director of product at Pipedrive. I've been here for 4 years, and yeah, my work really is in 3 parts. So people, product, and processes. So I lead a team of 8 product managers in product platform. I am part of the product leadership, so we work as a collective on all of our ways of working, how we do things, and then, of course, the product side, which is my product area's product platform. And I aim to align the product area vision and strategy to Pipedrive's vision and strategy. So, yeah, I think for a beginning, that's
yeah, I think that's pretty good for the start. Almonzer, you want to take it over?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Almonzer, and I'm a group product manager at Pipedrive. It's a new position for me. Started a few months ago, but I've been with Pipedrive for 2.5 years now. I'm leading a group of really awesome product managers. The area we are working on, it's a new product within Pipedrive. It's called Campaign by Pipedrive. It feels like a startup within a big scale-up, which poses lots of challenges, and which is exactly my day-to-day work around like vision, strategy, revenue metrics. Definitely leading my team, supporting them, making sure that they're unplugged and focused on the right things to be done. This is about it.
Okay, Maria.
Sure. So I'm Maria, and just like Almonzer, I'm also a group product manager. I do the same things they do. I work with people. I'm responsible for one area of the product. And I also work in contributing to building an ecosystem where our teams can work in doing what they need to do to help us achieve our product objectives. On top of what my colleagues would have shared already, another thing we also do is work across different functions in the organization to make sure that we're aligned and covering everything that we need from the customer and product lifecycle perspective. So, yeah, that's me.
Thank you. And now you guys got to know us a little bit better. Let's get to the 4 main topics we'll be discussing today. So first of all, we'll be discussing the leadership culture we have in our product organization, mostly how do we really shape that culture here. Second topic will be about how our product leads support product managers in their personal and professional growth. The third topic will be about career paths we have here at Pipedrive. So how do product managers really know where they can move next? And at the end, we'll ask our speakers to share their personal career path here at Pipedrive. Okay. And topic number 1, which is leadership culture here we have at Pipedrive Product Organization. Jaana, let's talk.
Okay, getting serious.
So, as I promised to the audience, we're going to reveal some of the secrets behind our product team success, right? So I know that you strongly believe that everything starts from how we lead product managers, the team, and how we really help them to grow. So can you please tell us a little bit about this culture in leadership that we have?
Sure. So we actually had a conversation with Maria the other day where I was thinking about the same question, and I was like, hey, Maria, do we have like agreed principles? And we realized that we all have pretty much the same approach, but we haven't defined it exactly. And I think that's great because that means that it is really part of our culture. So our approach to leading product teams is really quite coaching. And by what I mean is it's less about, top down saying how you should do things or what you should do, and more about creating this environment where product managers would like to work in and where they feel most comfortable at. So we as managers, what we foremost do is we make sure that our product area has a strong vision and strategy, and then we align our product people to that vision and strategy and help them to create their best vision and strategy and roadmaps and be the best PMs they can every day.
Mm-hmm. I really like your point about involving many people, because I really like that about Pipedrive, that it's nothing like decided somewhere there at the back and suddenly it comes to us. We really are part of creating all this culture together. Maria, you've been working at Pipedrive for 7 years. That's a lot of time, right?
Yeah.
So if you now compare your experience at Pipedrive versus where you've been working before, what would you say are the main difference in leadership style?
Sure. So I think I could even highlight differences within the 7 years, because of course there's a lot of changes happening in 7 years. But if I try to recall my previous work experiences, I think the main thing, Jaana has already mentioned it, our job in leadership is also to coach people. And it sounds scary, very fancy kind of thing. But coaching requires actually just to very honestly tune in with yourself and with the people that you're leading. And it's pretty much about helping people mirror themselves, their strengths, their weaknesses, so that they can work on them and apply them to what we're trying to achieve as a company. So comparing that to my previous experiences, managers were pretty much just someone maybe monitoring the tasks that you have to do, making sure that you're at work when you need to be, very admin kind of thing, less personal. While at Pipedrive, we try to sort of invest a lot in who we're working with as humans, and that's what leadership is centered around. I think it's like people at the center. It's like if people are well, then we can do all the product and business stuff that we need to do. So that's the main difference, I would say.
Okay, I think it's a good opportunity for us to turn into a live example of recently coached group product manager now, congratulations, Almonzer. You got promoted recently. So we're curious, like, what was your thought process behind that decision? Like, okay, I'm ready. I want to take a new challenge. And also, how do you see yourself now contributing to this leadership culture?
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. So there is something very important about Pipedrive is that we try to keep it our hierarchy as flat as possible, and we have high level of transparency. So, for example, with my direct manager, which happens to be Jaana, back in the days, since I joined Pipedrive, there was like transparency into what is my career path, where do I want to go, and how can she support me to get there. So over like 2 years being in Pipedrive, there was always this idea that I love working with people, I love helping people, and at one point I would like to be a people manager. And indeed, we had lots of moments where she would push me, here is a training, consider taking it, or would you like to join the interview process for new candidates? And that was extremely helpful. So when the opportunity came, and it was like, we were on offsite, like all the product team, and the chief product officer of Pipedrive back then, Krish, was there, and he asked me, what are you doing now? Are you interested in a new challenge? And we've been looking, at that point, we've been looking for a GPM or a group product manager for campaign for a while, and we were not being very lucky. And he asked, like, hey, would you like to take on this challenge? And I am ready, and I'm interested because of all the work we've done together with my manager. And indeed, I joined the team as group product manager, knowing that I will be supported with my peers. I was very critical when he said, take this challenge, and we will support you. Jaana, Maria, all the team will be supporting you.
And all of this, as I understood, happened during a party.
during an offsite.
The best decisions are made in a sauna in Estonia, right?
Yeah.
Product organizations over there take it as a note and invest into bringing people together.
But yeah, I think what really echoes in Monzer's answer as well is that I think, like, if I look back at my career at Pipedrive as well, then it's not like this snap that now this thing happened, right? I remember back when Monzer started, it was from day one, it was clear that he will be amazing group product manager at one point.
That's not what you told me.
It was clear for me. I don't know what I told you, but okay, let's face it. There was work to be done to make him ready, but there was the potential there. But what I wanted to say was that I think if I think back of my own career here at Pipedrive as well, we're always on that journey of developing, and we're always in progress, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like that one moment where we all sit down that, hey, so today we start working on, you're now a senior PM, now we start working on you becoming a GPM. It was like from day one when you were still a mid-level PM, we were working towards him becoming a great leader at one point. So always... it's not like a snap moment, but...
I would like to bring here, like recently we got this new program happening, Aspiring Manager Program. I remember when I had to take it, I was like, what? Aspiring Manager Program? But basically you are filling the role 6 months prior to your actual promotion. So it really helped me to understand not only if I'll be managing tasks well, but also if I like this role. So I think this initiative really helped me personally also to understand if I want to move into that direction or not. But audience, I'd like to encourage you to ask questions. So drop your question to the chat, and I will force these guys over here to answer all of your questions. But I would like to ask one more question, as I think we don't have questions yet. In product management, we measure everything. Like, this is a constant struggle. How do we know our feature is successful? How we know we're solving customers' problems? So what about this case? Like, we're talking about leadership culture here. How do we know it's actually good?
Tough one. Yeah, I can take a stab at it, and you guys can add as you see. But I think there's direct and indirect ways. The direct way is you sense it. When things are working in an organization, they're just working, right? People are comfortable having tough or easy conversations with one another, giving themselves unrequested feedback. They talk about how difficult something they're doing is and ask for help. They're not afraid to ask for help. They're not afraid to say, I can't do this, I need help, or I made a mistake here, how would you do it differently? So that's the indirect way to measure it, how people are behaving on a day-to-day. But we also have measurable ways, like we have internally in the organization this employee net promoter score system that we run, where we get to see how everyone across the organization is doing, but we can also dig in by department. So as an example, I remember last year, we got some heavy critical feedback. Some things were not working well in the leadership organization. We sensed it already in the halls, but that ENPS allows us to sort of understand exactly where the problem was. So what we did in the leadership team, we agreed to dig deeper into this, because the feedback we were getting was telling us where the problem was, but it wasn't telling us exactly what it was. So yeah, of course, some of the things you would expect to come directly from the team through the manager, but sometimes there's tension. Some teams, are not sort of aligned to one another. So we need this additional tool. So we created an additional survey to gather this feedback. And we're very specific. We actually worked with the feedback from the research team to build a questionnaire that was going to give us what we needed, the same way we would do with customers. And that gave us some real good actionable pieces that we took on for the next quarter to improve things. And yeah, improvement actually showed up in the next ENPS. So yeah, there are direct and indirect ways to measure. I don't know if you see something else there.
Yes, I think we have the things that you mentioned, and if I think about how I measure the success of myself as a manager, then there are a few things that I look at. So one of the things is that do people actually want to work at my team? And then another is that how are my people doing? Are they getting promoted like Monzer here? And then there's this funny thing whether it's like, are other managers trying to steal my people? It's like, it's probably a hint that I may be doing something right if that's happening every now and then.
Absolutely, yes. We have a couple of questions actually from audience. So question from a student. How does product leaders balance aligning the overall product vision to individual features or product managers' visions and strategy? So how do we align one product manager's work, its vision, to the overall company vision?
I'll try answering this question, which is really, really important, because on my day-to-day, I've been through the journey as a mid-level senior and now group product manager at Pipedrive. And at each point, I need to understand as a product manager how what I'm doing at the moment linked with the rest of the organization. Because eventually I'm taking this scope and I'm working with it, or this problem area, right? And it didn't happen just immediately, but leadership worked really hard on building our vision and strategy and communicating this over and over. This all came, of course, from understanding our customers, understanding who are the target users, right? What problems we want to solve from them, right? And once we understood that from this high level, we started breaking this down into different teams, and how these different teams, how everything they are doing is going to connect eventually to get us where we want to be, right? We have a set goal in the organization, Pipedrive. Where do we want to be 2025, right? What do we need to achieve to get there? And then in the product org itself, as teams, each team is taking part of this problem, right? As independent as possible, and leading that, understanding how whatever they are working on is impacting the rest of the vision, rest of the strategy. And this was very important, especially for me, the transparency and repeating this and communicating it. And I remember our CPO having specific weekly session where just Q&A, ask questions, challenge, make sure that all the product team understand where do we want to be and how are they impacting that.
Yeah, and I would even add that it's not product leads to make sure that we align our product areas to overall vision. It's every product manager's role, actually. Every time we have to present a strategy and vision of our own product areas, we have to, there's actually, I think we even have the section separately in the document. It's like, how does this align to the bigger vision we have in the company? Another question we have from Hanna. Who will participate in Aspiring Manager program? People who want to become managers or people who already await their promotion in the future?
Mm-hmm. I'm very happy to take that because I was one of the people behind designing this program. Kudos to our peers in the support organization who were partly inspiring this because they also have their own Aspiring Manager program. So we created this because you usually have a couple of people, not as simple as that, there's a lot more than that, but you usually have the people who already have skills that are transferable to a role of managing others. Maybe in prior jobs they've done, maybe they haven't managed product managers, but they've managed other kinds of teams, and they have been working in product management for a while, and they're ready for it, and they can straight go to a promotion. But there are a lot of people who don't have managerial experience or who are not aware of which of the skills that they have are actually applicable for a manager role. So this is mostly for these kind of people who haven't had the experience before or who want to have a feel for what the role is about. And it's about getting into action before getting promoted. So it could happen that someone takes on the Aspiring Manager program and in the process, 3 months while checking how they're progressing or 6 months, they realize that it's not for them, or the manager realizes that there are a few things that are not suitable for them. And that's what the Aspiring Manager is supposed to help with, right? So it's ideally for people who are not ready and need to still build on additional skills, or even if their managers think they're ready, could have an opportunity to also test it out and see how it goes.
I remember talking to you, Marie, about when I was transitioning to the group product manager, and I remember told you let's have this Aspiring Manager program, and maybe I will really hate it and I don't want to become to this role. So I was really grateful we had this opportunity to test our skills and how we really feel about getting into this new role. Great, but I think it's time now to move to our second topic, which is how our product leads help our product managers in their professional and personal growth. So, wait, let me see what I have here. I have to, guys, tell you a secret. We don't have any certain laboratory or greenhouse where we grow product managers, but we have product managers from a lot of different cultural backgrounds. For example, I'm from Armenia, Jaana is, surprise, surprise, from Estonia, Almonzer from Syria, Maria is from Venezuela. Also, we have very different educational backgrounds, experience backgrounds, but still, Jaana, I would like to ask from you, where do usually product managers come from, and what is their common characteristic?
Yeah, I think you honestly gave half of the answer already. We're all from all over the place, right? So we have, I think, around 55 product managers and 55 designers at Pipedrive, and they're probably from 15 or 20 different nationalities, but educational backgrounds, so very diverse group in many ways. I think, we don't have this, we always hire from this country or this company. But I think I would turn your question around and say, what's common? And I think all of our people, all of our product managers are curious people. They have an act for asking good questions, going deeper. So that's something that unifies them. And that they're probably, maybe they've worked as a product manager before, but not necessarily. So, we're not one of these companies that looks like, do you have education from that school? Have you built that specific. Have you built a CRM before?
50 years of experience.
Have you built a CRM for 15 years, or marketing automation for 15 years? That doesn't even.
I remember when I joined Pipedrive, actually, like 4 years ago, I would leave our office like every time around 8 and 9 o'clock because so many people were such different backgrounds, musicians and people doing sports professionally. So I would just, it was so interesting to talk and discover like how different people are.
Are you saying
hanging out with them and like questioning them?
I was like,
so? Are you saying that at the Pipedrive you need to be in the office until 9 o'clock in the evening? I didn't get the memo.
I didn't say that.
It's still like surprisingly it's happening now, but before, like at least when I was back in university, there was no specific like product management school.
Yeah.
And that's why, as you said, you could be coming from computer engineering or like from design background or other like.
Yeah, I haven't studied product management. I studied.
Which of us? I mean,
Like
I
engineering.
think we all learned it from doing it, and as we were doing it, things started popping up. I said I was about to start a course on product management at the university, and
Nice.
I think we pretty much have all learned it by doing it. But nowadays, there's an amazing amount of resources and materials too.
Marie, if you're already talking, let me ask you something else. So I know, because I've been there with you, like to know where you're gonna go in the future, to know this final destination. You gotta know like what do you want, right? What that final destination will be. So who really defined or helped to define that final destination in a person's mind, and what does it really mean to coach a person to get into the new role?
Right. That final destination thing always reminds me of some sort of tragic movie. Wasn't there a movie with that name out there, actually?
The destination was no fun.
Yes. I don't think there's a final destination. Our lives are a path that we keep going through, and we change direction as we learn new things, hopefully, right? But if we talk about where does the product manager want to go, it's the same question as where does anybody want to go? Only that person knows. I cannot tell them where to go. So I would say my job, when you say what does it mean to coach someone, it means helping them figure it out if they haven't yet, right? If they know where they want to go, then my job as a coach and mentor is to identify whether the opportunities we have, depending on our company and product strategy, are aligned with what they want to do. Is there a future for them here 6 months ahead, 12 months ahead, 3 years ahead? But also accepting that it could actually mean that their destination is somewhere else outside of the company, in a different product, perhaps even in a different role. In fact, I found myself in this situation a few years ago, telling someone that I think they were better suited for another role. That's not actually something easy to identify, but I learned this from one of my managers here at Pipedrive, and I learned to ask myself the question of what's going on with this person and what are they really good at? Because everybody has some talent. And so you don't figure it out for them, but you help them figure it out, and then you help align it with the company if it's possible, or suggest them something else.
And I like that it's in Pipedrive, it's never like set to the stone, like you are in this role and that's it. You cannot like switch it or go back or take completely different direction. I've seen many examples, and you, including Maria, who been doing one thing and then suddenly went to a different department, tried things there, and then maybe decided to go back or take a third path, right?
Yeah, actually, on that point, you remind me of a couple of roles I've had at Pipedrive that I would have never imagined doing. All of my roles have been within product, but back in 2020, I was asked to take on a customer program role, like head of customer program. I was like, what is that? So I kind of had to research, talk to my colleagues and stakeholders internally, look at what other companies were doing, and I pretty much defined my role. And that naturally led to a situation where the research team was left without a leader, and I was like, I am actually working with half of the research team. And they told me, Maria, you've been leading teams before. You're working with research. How about you take on the role of leading the team, the research team? And I was like, let me think about it. What would a head of research have to do? And I realized I could actually do it. They would be the experts. I mean, the research team is an amazing team with all kinds of skills from sociology to marketing and whatnot. So they were going to be the experts. But my job was to give them direction. And it was very eye-opening experience for me. And I wouldn't have known that I was actually capable of doing that unless I had been given the opportunity.
Yeah,
So,
and I think to what you're saying and to the original question, like the role of the manager, I always try to find, I believe that people can do whatever they want as long as they have this spark in their eye that they want to do it, right? And I think a lot what we do as managers is like we are there to help the person to find like what they are interested in and what is the real thing that they want to do, right? Because if you're like passionate about something, then you'll do whatever, you'll figure it out, right? But if it's like, yeah, my job is that, but I'm not like that interested, then you'll just do it in a mediocre way. And if whenever I am reminded about all the roles that Maria has held at Pipedrive, then I'm like, who does that? But then I remember, but you always have that spark in your eye. It's like, yeah, that's a challenge. Like, I have no idea how to do it.
Prize for that? Can I get a prize for the most?
Well,
I think, the
You wanna
most
win a
spark
hoodie?
in your eyes, yeah.
You can ask a question, Maria, together with audience, and we can choose your question as the best and share a hoodie at the end of the call.
'Cause I wanna know.
Because we're always in the Zoom, right? Just a reminder to you guys that best questions will get the hoodie at the end of the talk. We got a good question from Kirill, and I personally would struggle to answer this question. And it says, what's the percentage of product managers are internal hire versus external? I have no idea myself.
I can, sorry, Kirill, I don't know the exact percentage, but I can tell you a story. So I think until beginning of the last year, we had hired maybe from 40 people, 5 internally from other roles, maximum. And the reason behind that was that we didn't hire that many junior or entry-level positions to product because, to be honest, we weren't just ready to coach and really get them ready for those roles. It used to be very small, and now maybe we hire 15-20% internally now. So our approach is, if we look at our career path, then we only hire junior PMs when they come internally, so wherever from within Pipedrive, because what we believe is that taking on a new job, even if you're super passionate about it, it's a lot. So with juniors, hire them internally so that they already know everything about Pipedrive. So there's one less thing to learn. So long story short, roughly 15%.
We have developed, and this is shows initiative within the product team. Is one of the product managers, senior product managers, have started this idea of what about bringing and building product managers within the organization? And when we were not ready because we didn't have the process for that. We didn't have the assets to support junior product managers as they come internally. Now we have actually a program as well for junior product manager to come for teams such as support. People have learned the product, talked a lot with customers. It's amazing if they would like to come and join the product management. Now, interesting though, and same for group product management as well. We have lots of people, maybe most of them are also mid or senior who became group product manager.
Yeah, with group PMs, it's vice versa, that most of them are internal.
Yes.
And we've actually hired very few of them outside, because there's no better thing, you can quote me on that, than a group product manager or a manager that is growing within the organization.
We got a really good question. I personally like this one a lot. From Edwin, what are some candidates' red flags for conducting an interview? I would probably say that one is this type of like vibe, like I know everything, you know, some people just have this sort of arrogance, like I know everything and I have a great experience past. So I think what we're looking very often in candidates is this type of like, I think Jaana, you mentioned it today, this curiosity, willingness to learn and grow. So I think that could be one of the red flags.
Yeah, I think another red flag, and I would argue it doesn't apply just to product management, but to any role, is that when there's no conversation, actually, you know, you're in an interview and you're asking questions, you don't want to make it kind of like an interrogation where you ask and the person answers, and then they answer kind of like within script. When you're interviewing, you're getting to know one another as an organization, as a culture. You want to know who you're going to be working with, right? And for me, a red flag is someone that is trying too hard to stick within certain script. Because the moment you then join the company, eventually you're going to lose in all of that squareness and tension, and maybe we won't like what we don't see. So the best thing is to, and I actually recommend that to anyone looking for a job, whatever role you're doing, it's a relationship of both sides, bidirectional. So bring your whole self to the interview, and it's okay, we don't know everything, we don't have all the experiences, there's not like a transferable checklist of skills. So I would say, to me, that's a red flag, someone sticking to an artificial
If they're not
script.
authentic. So you need to be yourself with your whole self.
One aspect is like definitely learn about the company you are interviewing with, if you are serious about the company. Like I've been with candidates first interviews, they're quoting our co-founders from videos they've watched online about that. That shows that they're really interested. They bring up like things that they've said that connected with them, resonated with them, right? They've looked into the product, they've learned something about it, and they bring it to the conversation. Which shows you that this candidate is really interested in joining, right, the product that you are in, the organization.
Yeah.
One more, buzzwords.
Buzzwords.
The bingo.
Like what?
Too many buzzwords used in the one interview.
I like to bring,
AI, machine learning, what?
That's a red flag.
Yeah.
Say.
I like to bring one of the questions that I get asked quite often after the question of what the hell you're actually doing there at Pipedrive. The second most asked question for me is, what are the main competencies that the product manager should have? So what would you guys say?
Ooh, okay. That's a real tough one, but I really like it because it's aligned with all this sort of coaching and mentoring. To be able to coach and mentor, you need to know what you're coaching and mentoring on, right?
Smooth.
Smooth.
Yeah, for those of you in the audience, if you've read about product management, you've probably come across that Venn diagram where you have the intersection of UX, business, and tech. That's a very common way to describe what are the skills that a product manager has. I think it's very simplistic. I used to guide myself through that diagram when I started in product management about 10 years ago. But I've started thinking very differently about this. And I think a better way to think about what competencies and skills you need is if you think about the product life cycle, which you can roughly divide into two bits: product discovery and product delivery. You need to discover what are the problems there that customers need solved, that are also sustainable for our business and that, you know, are feasible for us to solve, and then figure out how to bring it to the market, right? If you look into those two big phases of product management, there are a lot of skill sets in between: research, UX, marketing, project management. Like, again, it's huge. So the key ones will depend on where is your background. Mostly nobody starts straight into product management. They start from somewhere else. Like, some of them, I think you were an engineer. I think you were in UX. I think you were a tester. I was a teacher. I mean, go figure. So you have to understand where does your current skill set fit to then identify what are the other competences that you can fill in. But of course, there's a handful of ones that are like non-negotiable. Like a product manager that doesn't communicate clearly, it's not going to be successful.
Yeah, as a product manager, you guys have to talk a lot a lot, and with so many different people, and people are tough.
But it's not about only talking, right?
Right.
Yes.
Especially nowadays, it's all forms of communication. So apparently, if you look at us, then you also need to be ready to be live interviewed on YouTube. It's like a thing.
And the best of all, listener. A good communicator is a very good listener. So I think there is a handful of skills that you need to have to be a good product manager. We mentioned curiosity, that kind of detective researcher mindset where you don't take for granted what an answer or a piece of data is telling you, but where you're asking yourself why, building a hypothesis, understanding how to build an experiment to validate it, and then being able to move on even if you don't have all the answers. Pretty much navigating uncertainty, I think it's a very critical product management skill as
And being
well.
comfortable with uncertainty.
Yes.
And many people are not, and which is okay. It's something to learn to live with, because lots of what we deal with, there are lots of assumptions, lots of product bets, and we're going there to test that, see what works the best for our customers, and actually move on it. So having this actually scout mindset, discovery, I want to go try, test, ask questions.
I mean, there's so much to this question.
Yes.
We could have a whole show.
In general, I like how our ex-CPO Chris put it shortly. Product managers are problem solvers, so you can think all the things you have to do in order to discover the problem, to make sure it's an actual problem, and everything you have to do to solve it, to communicate it to all your stakeholders, to market, and so on. But before moving to the next, our third topic, I would like to turn to you guys, anyone who wants to actually apply to a product manager position in Pipedrive. I really recommend to go to our webpage and check our company values, because we take them here very, very seriously. So it's not about only you fitting to Pipedrive, but also Pipedrive fitting well into your life. So go check them out and see if you share the same values, if you would actually like to work here. And now moving on to the topic number 3, which is career paths. We have here in Pipedrive career paths, particularly for product managers. I know I'm very biased here, but I like to give kudos to the people who actually developed those career paths in Pipedrive. I personally went twice through this past processes. First time when I got promoted to a senior product manager, and now to a group product manager. And I see a lot of benefit, not because I benefited from it, but so many people, because you really see what are your opportunities in the company, and also you see what are the requirements. Okay, you're a senior product manager, what does it really mean? What it requires to get? So it brought a lot of clarity. And Jaana, I know, because I work here, we have these 3 pillars in this career path, which is people, product, and systems. So could you please a little bit elaborate on these 3 pillars?
So as we've developed our career path over the years, then we've always approached it as a product owner itself with product managers. We have a hammer and we use it everywhere. What we saw is it's in the name. We work with products. So one of the pillars needs to be what is the value that we're bringing to our users and customers. And then we've spoken quite a bit about collaboration and need to communicate. So the other pillar is people, and the emphasis obviously changes over time when you're an individual contributor, still practicing your craft of product management. Then you have less time to think about other people and so on. And as you move to managerial roles, then your focus actually switches from managing only product to managing more people and coaching and supporting them as a senior and as a group product manager. And then in whichever role you are in product organization, you are collaborating with different people and roles, and you need agreements how this is done, right? So the third pillar in our career path is the processes or systems. So which means how are we doing things? How do we agree on scope? How do we do research? What are our best practices so that not everybody needs to reinvent the wheel every time we do something? So we try to bring in all these 3 aspects into the skills at different levels as well.
So if you're there and you're like, this is all great, but I don't like to mentor people, I don't really like that much working with people, then here we go. We have this separate path that actually helps you to be more on hands. So if you really like doing product management on hands, you have ways to grow in that way. Maria, I know that while we were defining those career paths, we used different set of resources, so we didn't come up with everything ourselves. So if there's some product organization over there wondering what resources they could also use for their career path, maybe there's something you'd like to highlight that stood out for you.
Sure. So I think the first thing that is worth highlighting is that there's no straightforward answer. There's not a checklist or a book or a set of materials that you should read, because it pretty much boils down to the problem you're trying to solve in your organization. Some authors, for example, don't recommend having a career path until you have 10 people in your organization. We've iterated on ours like, 3 or 4 times probably. And it all boils down to, why is it important for you to have a career path? What are the skills that are needed in the organization to achieve the goals that you're trying to achieve? And then what kind of skills do you have within your team, and which ones do you need to develop? Can you afford developing them within the team that you have? Or do you need to bring them from outside? Because sometimes it is necessary to bring people from outside already with those skills developed. But obviously, there's a lot of influence from the experiences we have. I mean, collectively, we have decades of experience in product management, and each of us has been exposed to books, to online courses, to other peers in other companies, to events that have slowly built up our knowledge, plus our own hands-on experience of testing out things and designing, for example, an organization with a designer. It's a very interesting process, by the way. Applying actually a lot of the techniques we apply to solving product problems for customers, but to solving your organizational problems. So I cannot make myself name one author or a resource, because I feel I will be limiting my answer to what the reality is, which is your own experience, background, and whatever problem you're trying to solve.
Okay. Thank you, Maria. We have a question from audience, which I think is a good follow-up to this. They're asking if we have a certain formal framework we follow while developing our product manager. So short answer to that is yes, those career paths that we're just discussing right now with these 3 pillars of product, systems, and people. But I'll take the second part of the question, which is, when do we know that the product manager is ready to become a group product manager? Maybe Almonzer, you want to take that, because you just recently go from one.
So, the question is, when do we know that the person
is ready? Yeah.
Is ready? So, very good question. Very good question. So in Pipedrive, by the way, it's not the manager who kick off. The manager can kick off the promotion process, but it comes from people. So it's a very important thing, with not leaving things at just the hand of the managers, but also the people can say, well, I'm ready now.
Yes.
So one aspect is that, do you feel ready? Do you feel this is a challenge that you want to? Of course, as I spoke before, there should be some certain agreement, or it was communicated before with your manager that this is something you aspire to, right? And being group product manager is not the only path, of course. There are other paths that we are working on, like becoming a principal product manager as well. So it's not only group product manager. Now, knowing that's the first step. Communicating that as well is important. And there is this, as we mentioned with stress on the aspiring product manager that you, myself, we went through, we experimented with it. And the beauty of that, the thing about junior, mid, and senior product managers, those roles, they're very similar, but then there is a leap to the group product manager. And the why there is that as a sole contributor, as a mid or a junior or a senior level, you own your own success, right? You are dealing with a single problem area, working with resources given to you. But then for a group product manager, your success come from others, through others.
Yes.
You need to be able to look at multiple problem areas, be able to support your team, etc. And that's why we have this aspiring product manager to help product managers in their way to become, and you can do it even if there are no opportunities at the moment. That's one thing. Like if a product manager desire to start this, they can, and then they have the capacity. When opportunities open in Pipedrive, then they would be at an advantage to start their career as group product managers.
I really, really like your point on communication. I personally made this mistake, when you want something, but you don't ever tell it to anyone, and then you're wondering why nothing happens. You know that situation?
Why haven't they promoted me?
I want to emphasize one more thing, that although Monzer being ready and communicating that definitely was very important for him to become a GPM, but with every role that we have described in the career path, so what we've done is we have clearly described what the role is, like a nice few paragraphs of text to understand what it is about, and then we have also the role described in different dimensions like delivery, research, understanding the problem, like different aspects of product management as competencies. And you can actually, at any given point in time, you can check yourself against it. Okay, in that aspect, I'm at the junior level. Or in that aspect, totally a director already. So you can always know where you are, and you can have an informed conversation with your manager as well. That hey, so I feel like I need to develop here. What might I do? How can I develop further? Because actually I want to become a principal PM, so we have those descriptions.
But Jaana, this is all great, but imagine there is no manager like you, and Almonzer doesn't have a manager like you. In fact, nobody really wants to mentor him. So what if this situation happens? And Almonzer, what would you say, what would be your go-to resource that you could benefit from, that could help you?
Yeah, I was lucky to have good managers, and I hope really your manager is really, really important part of your career. But yes, as you said, maybe we are not all lucky. Maybe we have to be in certain places. Then your manager is not the only person to get mentorship and coaching from. Like when I was looking for Maria, she's one of my favorite product people, right? And like the way she leads, the environment she has for her team. When I look at that, and I think this is what I want to be as a group product manager, as well as my direct manager, right? So looking at other places, not only from your direct manager, but looking at your peers maybe. They might have a lot to teach you. They might have a lot to tell you. As Maria just said, all of us hold years of experience, right? So this is one. Even other departments, it doesn't need to be your own department. At the same time, we are living in an era of abundance of information. Today, like the amazing folks that were watching us, they want to grow. They want to grow themselves, learn more, ask good questions. So you are doing it. Mm-hmm. Congratulations, right? You are looking to grow yourself, right? Yeah. You want to build on that?
Go ahead. No, I wanted to add something to the previous point that has been bothering me, and I just cannot leave it hanging in there. The question of the person asking, how do you know you're ready? Because everything you said is true, but I think you left something very important out. It sounded too much like a Disney movie, but it's not. I've lived long enough in Estonia to enjoy dark humor and understand that things are also hard and have to be straightforward and not always fun. There is an assessment process that you have to go through that is filled in by your manager, yourself, peers from the different functions that you work with, design, engineering, and other managers. And that will objectively say if you're ready. And why objectively? We've also learned this by putting these competency models to tests. We've made many mistakes with that. And one of the mistakes is allowing a test to go with, do you think this person has the skill? Yes or no? We now ask for evidence. You have to have demonstrated these skills, which is why it would be hard if you're coming from outside to get promoted, because we haven't seen your work. So how about we see your work? And this can happen in 3 months as long as you can demonstrate it, or it can be 12 as well, or 18, or 3 years, right? Speeds are different for different people. I just wanted to put that out there, right? Because I think that is very important in keeping the quality of the work that we do and then the people that we have. Because they say out there, I can't remember the author, I'm terrible at remember author names, that your manager's sort of skill and quality will be measured by the lowest quality of performer you're ready to tolerate. And that's actually very important.
Ooh, deep.
So,
Yeah,
yeah. So
Getting
be careful with
philosophical
being
here.
overly flexible and validate the skills in a measurable way. It's not easy, but it's possible.
and I love like that's I did this assessment, and the thing is, the person who's looking to be promoted or looking to be like taking this opportunity, they have to do self-assessment as well. They need to look in the mirror, ask themselves, what have I done to deserve what I'm doing? And it will be compared not just their own direct manager, but other people who have they collaborated with.
Yeah.
Well, when we're on this topic, then I need to make.
Go ahead.
We all like to make
Yeah,
points.
we're point makers, right? So where this evidence thing even came from when we started with that was that sometimes you're actually not ready, right? And then we were looking for a way to make sure that everyone who's going through a promotion process or evaluation process, they actually have clear feedback about, okay, but where are my gaps, right? And actually this, as we ask for evidence for every different aspect of the role and are you ready for it, then you can clearly see, okay, like here, no one had any examples to bring, or here are some examples and things to improve. So it was a very natural way to make sure that, basically it gives us the improvement plan immediately, how to get to the next level.
Let's take a couple of questions from our audience. So is career path defined at onboarding and how it will change in time? And follow up to that, would this be in collaboration with your superior? So is your career path defined at onboarding and how would this change in time? I assume the person asking this means that when you're joining Pipedrive, is your career path already defined or not?
So I think you maybe could take this question.
Okay,
because you have onboarded quite a few people recently, new joiners.
Yeah, so I would say that it's not defined because the person just joining Pipedrive, getting familiar with how we work here, what we do here, and in general also it takes time for a manager to see what are the stronger skill set for this product manager, what needs to improve. And so I think it all really is being defined throughout the time of collaboration together, working together, and then already from there deciding together what will be this next step for the product manager to take. So yeah, like answer to the second question, is it in collaboration? Very much so, and I would emphasize that it really starts from a product manager bringing it up that, hey, I really feel I want to take this new challenge, try this, and then manager helps to basically with this process to set the next steps for this. Another question from a very familiar name, Kalle Fronto. Do you know, guys, who this is?
I've heard about this dude.
Yeah,
I think he might. I think he might be an ex-Pipedriver.
Oh, okay. Let's see what he's. I guess he misses Pipedrive. So see, guys, like people who leave.
Well, that's the real thing. Like how do we know we have a great environment?
Yes.
People come back, right?
True.
So welcome back, Kalev.
Yes.
We are waiting for you.
Question from Kalev. What do you think, being on the managerial track as a group product manager, is it sufficient just to be a good people manager without any real experience as an individual contributor, so as a product manager? Good one.
Yeah, I can tell that one. Fun fact, Kalev was in my team. Seda is in my team. Jaana was in my team. Only you're missing here. See the pattern?
That's what happens when you work at Pipedrive for 7 years.
Yes, everybody has to work with Maria at one point. That's a requisite. I would say that no. I think in the past we emphasize more on the people skills. We are at a very different stage right now, and I think that's also very important to emphasize. Depending on what stage your product and your company are, it might be enough with having people skills, or you might require product management skills. Right now, we're emphasizing on people who have people skills, but also product management skills, because product management is it's a very complicated role with a lot of skill sets. You'll always have a weakness here or there. So it's good to have a manager that will know at the very least to guide you on where you need to improve it, even if they don't know it themselves. What I do agree with is that it is impossible to have a manager that will be an expert in all of the skills. UX research, analytics, business, pricing, interviewing, all of it is too much. But having a product manager that is great at doing what they do without people management skills, that's also a no-no. So the short answer is not enough. You need to know both.
And I think it really boils down to our approach as well, where in the beginning you were saying that our managers aren't those operational people who are like, hey, did you do this? But how about that? And when are you going to do that, right? So we very much look at our GPMs as professional coaches. They coach you to be better at your craft. And how would you do that if you're not an excellent specialist to your own? And for us to become a GPM, you need to be a senior before. So it's a stepping stone.
And knowing the company as well. Even like I think we have new GPMs joining, but even when they started, one very, very essential aspect is understanding the company, understanding how we build the product as well, how we do product, our product philosophy in Pipedrive, because it's also important. It's not just helping product managers succeed in anywhere, it's helping product managers succeed in Pipedrive. So actually having previous experience in Pipedrive, leading missions or like delivering, helps you a lot to support your team actually in doing and delivering as well, because you know what they might face, you know the processes in Pipedrive, etc., etc.
Yes.
You know the strategy, the vision, you worked with that.
So much easier.
We already revealed a secret that we do have a greenhouse where we grow product managers, and I manage it.
No, so we don't have a greenhouse. We
I
said
guard it.
we're not talking about the pipes where we build, grow them.
Okay,
No talking
that's
about the pipes.
for
Oh, shut
another
up.
product meetup.
Okay.
Okay. So guys, before we move to our last topic, I also have this like one thought. I really want to like put it on the table before I forget. So if you're out there and you, as Almonzer say, look at your right, look at your left, who you would like to be like in the future. If you don't have this person, you can also look at the people you don't want to be like. And this is also a really huge, like a source of learning, which can help you to define your future path of things you wouldn't like to do when once you become a manager. Now, the final topic, which is basically, I'm going to ask you guys to share your personal journeys, career journeys at Pipedrive and some of the main lessons learned on the way. Who wants to start? Oh, you, Jaana, wants to start.
It's like, talk about yourself, how hard can it be? But somehow blanking here. But mostly, I think if I started 4 years ago as a product manager, mid-level product manager. We didn't have seniors. Actually, we were so small. We actually didn't have senior product managers at that time. And my path was very organic, honestly, where my managers always were very supportive in letting me do what I wanted to do and grow where I wanted to grow. So, in essence, how my product area kept growing, and then since I had an interest in leading people and being a team lead, then it was quite natural that the product area grew together with me. So I continued hiring new people to take care of new areas, and then the rest is history. Now I'm leading a team of 8 people and a pretty big product area. So
Thank you, Jaana. Maybe Maria, you can be next. I think you're the person who's been at Pipedrive the longest.
Yeah.
7 years.
Yeah,
Thank
I've
you.
already revealed a few of those things. Not 7 yet. It's going to be on the 30th of March. Waiting for that hoodie.
We're waiting, Kringle.
We
and
get hoodies with the year we've been here, starting from the 5th year. So it's really hard, you know. I want the white one. That's like on the 9th year. But yeah, I've already shared some of those experiences I've had here at Pipedrive. I started first as a product manager responsible for an area of the product. Then I started leading a group of people, product managers as well. Eventually, I became the head of product. I have to admit it, that was the hardest ever, leading a whole department and have never sort of done it before. You learn a lot, you grow a lot, but it was pretty intense. So I took a break after that. And that's when I came back to do the customer program / research thing. I did that for about a year. And since last year, I'm back at being a group product manager, and I'm glad I was able to do that again, because I think I'm doing it a lot better than I did when I was, for example, working with Jaana. So I'm a lot better group product manager now, thanks to all those experiences that I had. And I couldn't be happier, honestly. So
Thank you so much for sticking around with us.
Monster.
Hi.
Yeah.
You also work here, so.
Yeah, I do.
How did you get here?
I actually, when I wanted to like move from my previous job, it wasn't just I want to be in any other place. I said I want to be in one of two places. One of them was Pipedrive. Was more like towards Pipedrive even back then, especially because of like what I heard about the culture and the people. So, but there were no openings for my level back then. I was looking for just a product manager. There was only entry for a senior product manager. And then I asked my friend who worked here, like, do you think I should be encouraged to apply? She said, like, yes, do it. And I applied for the senior product manager, and the decision was like, let's give you this opportunity, but you can always grow. You can start as product manager, and then create your path to level up. And indeed, like I joined as a product manager, did my one big project back then, like our web app navigation revamp. And within a year, I was promoted to senior product manager. And then with another year, I got promoted again to group product manager. So it was quite a ride. I think you asked a question about learning. I worked in platform, so we really work across, in a horizontal way, across product teams. We support all the product teams. And when you work on products, like, for example, navigation, there are lots of stakeholder management. And if there is something to share, do not assume that people know. Mm-hmm. Communicate. Help your stakeholders understand where you are you going, and what will take you there. Help them see what's the success criteria to move from one step to the other. Don't assume they know just because you do. Because when we are like digging the tunnel, we are only seeing the tunnel, but it's very important to look around because people will be asking questions. It's very important to communicate
I
again.
want to really add there, it's not only that don't say things when you assume you know, but my rule is when you're feeling kind of like sick already from telling the same thing over and over again, and like you think like everyone knows this, right? This is a time to communicate it again. This is really my rule, because every time I feel I over-communicate something, there's always some people who still don't know. So
I've like 2.5 years in Pipedrive, and it's been a long time ago since I touched our navigation, but they still like, this is the navigation dude. I don't do it anymore.
Hey, 4 years since I built our 2FA. I'm still the 2FA girl.
Yeah,
I will be forever email girl.
and I'm called an insight queen.
It's okay, nice.
I really like this one question we got from audience. What is the hardest thing in being a product manager at Pipedrive?
Product manager or group product manager?
Product manager,
Okay.
it says.
Potato. You have a product manager to be a group product manager. At Pipedrive specifically.
Yes, specifically at Pipedrive. It makes me think, really, what is the hardest thing?
I have one.
Sorry. Go ahead.
So I think one of them is we have a very broad customer base from many different industries, companies, and different parts of the world. So you have to be very smart at processing the feedback you have from their needs and problems, and then come up with solutions, obviously with your UX design expert peers, that can satisfy the need considering the differences within those industries. Because there's no one size fits all, but we do happen to have a very diverse customer base. So I think that makes the job very challenging.
Mm.
Another thing I think what makes it like difficult sometimes is change, because especially I think if you're at the earlier startup stages, things change, your customer base change, processes change. So really being like ready to quickly adjust to the new processes and have this type of mindset of, new change, or maybe this will be new opportunity, not like, oh no, this old times, remember how great it was. So like having that mindset. Another really great question from Teet. What makes you as a product manager in Pipedrive call out, quote, "We did it, it's done, and we got it done well"? Customer feedback, I want to say right away.
And I want to take the chance to say that before everything we do, like we run missions in Pipedrive, or sometimes even projects, we really stress at definition of done and success criteria. It's really something, and it's not like you've learned it once. You are always a topic to improve, like objective and key results, something that we try to work on. So achieving this is also an indication that you have done it. Definitely, I agree with you. Seeing this, like sometimes support team would share like a screenshot. Here is what or like we collect feedback once we release certain features, and like just saying, I love this, or like this is what was missing from my life. It's a moment where like I'm done. I'm closing my I'm done. I've done it.
Are we also talking about mistakes? Because both of your answers reminded me of. So when I joined Pipedrive, we're about 70 people, and we're like 1,000 right now. You can get a feel for what has changed there, not only the size, but everything. And I remember back in the day when I was celebrating with the team, having put something in production. Like that's the worst moment for a product manager to celebrate. Just because you put something in production doesn't mean it's done. Nowadays, we celebrate a number of adoption or engagement getting closer to where you want it to be, and you understand how hard that is. And also customers engaging with you. Like I had a customer webinar yesterday with one of our customer support people, Tonya, and it's scary. You have 200 customers from everywhere, and they're asking you all kinds of questions. Scary questions, hard questions, easy ones, but they're engaging with you. To me, that's worth celebrating. They are ready to talk to us because we've opened the doors to talk to them, and having a direct interaction with our customers like that, it's a good thing.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Unfortunately, I'm afraid I have to draw a line here, even though really liked talking.
All night.
We can stay and still talk.
Keep rolling, like good.
But as promised, we like to choose 3 best questions based on our biased opinion, and then we want to send hoodies, Pipedrive hoodies, to all of you. So I propose maybe we can, every speaker can choose 1 question that you guys like the most. Do you already know?
I don't read them.
I know one.
I know one.
Okay.
I really like the question around. I'm not sure if it's the best question, but I like the question around how do you know that you are ready to be a GPM or other PM.
For me, that question is like aligning, or there was around what you are doing as product manager, and how is that aligned to the rest of the, like, how do you know that you are doing the right thing, and how is that aligned to the rest of the strategy and vision? It's a very beautiful question, very beautiful question, because it shows that, there is an understanding, there is a link between what I'm doing versus what.
Yes.
So apply to Pipedrive.
And you, Maria, what about you?
I'm going to give you the honor to pick the 3rd one because I have, I don't know, squirrels. Do they have bad memory? And that's why I take a lot of notes.
Goldfish.
Yeah, goldfish memory. And I already forgot our question. I'm like Dory's from Finding Nemo. So you pick it, Seda. And I think we should name the people who asked the questions. You also.
What was, do you remember?
No, we will figure it out. Thank you, Maria.
There's one highlighted there.
Yes, so
That one?
one is from Santep. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. That's a question about being aligned to a product vision.
That's the one that
yes.
Almonzer showed. Right?
Another question was about when you know that you're ready to become a product manager. Let me see.
Well, Kalev's question around being what does it take to be a GPM was pretty good as well.
Yes, but it's my turn now to choose a question.
Oh, so you can do it.
No, actually, I also really like, Kalev, your question about what it really takes to be a good group product manager. Yeah. So those will be the 3 questions we're picking. So first one, how do you know that you're aligning your product area with the overall company strategy? Second question is, Kalev's your question, what it takes to be a good product manager. And third question that Jaana picked, I forgot.
How do you know you're ready?
Yeah, how do you know you're ready to become a group product manager? So if you are the owner of this question, one of these 3, please write to press@pipedrive.com. Write the question that you asked, and we'll make sure we ship you with a nice Pipedrive hoodie. Just in case I repeat, you probably sync in your screen too. If this is one of the questions you asked, so if your product area is aligned with the overall company's vision, how do you know you're ready to become a group product manager? And third question is what it takes to be a good group product manager. Then please write to press@pipedrive.com. Type a question you ask, and we'll ship you with a nice Pipedrive hoodie.
Wait, are we done? I have a question.
Tell it.
Can I ask a question?
Of course. You heard it.
So my question is, if there would be only one skill that you could develop in a product manager, as a product manager, what would it be?
For me, emotional intelligence. That's a tough one. But if you can figure emotional intelligence, you're pretty much covering how aware you are of yourself. Yeah. So you know what you're good or bad at. How do you relate to others and building relationships? And how do you see the world around you, which is a very good skill for vision and strategy. And all of that, it's encircled into emotional intelligence. So it takes years.
For me, it would be the love for the problem more than the love for the solution.
Oh.
We see a lot that, and even myself, like back in time, we always want to reach the solution. But actually, if we can embrace the problem and we are ready to look it in the face and try to identify it very well, finding the solution will just come like this.
So that's a PEEP for problem, yeah?
No,
Yeah.
Asking the questions, not assuming, really asking and having this, I want to know, I want to learn. What's up? This love and embrace of the problems makes you really good at your career.
Okay. Do you want to answer as well?
I will say maybe having this customer-driven mindset, because while working in your product area, you can just forget yourself in these things you're doing daily and just simply forget you're all doing this for your end users and customers, and really being able to put yourself into a customer's shoes. I would say that. But now I have to...
Maybe she wants, Jaana, she wants to
Your answer.
Sure. For me, it is critical thinking. So really taking in all those inputs that we need to as a product management and judging them, understanding them, processing them, and forming an opinion. Because as product managers, there's just so many things that come in, and we need to take in. We can't just shoot from the hip and make decisions randomly. So critical thinking for me.
Luckily, we live in a world where we can develop several skills, so not just one. But now, before concluding everything, guys, I would really appreciate your feedback on this session, or if you just have any ideas for a future product session, something you would like us to discuss here, please fill in the form we'll be sending through the Meetup community. We'll highly, highly appreciate your feedback. But other than that, have a lovely evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you for tuning in, sticking with us, and bye.
Bye.
Bye.